Afternoon, everyone. This is the April, April 22nd meeting of the Conway Selectboard. Our chair, Chris Waldo, is away this evening, so I'm running this meeting as the deputy chair, vice chair, second in command. All right, first item on the agenda, vote to approve the minutes of April 14th, 2025. Those looked great.
Yes, they did.
So motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so accounts payable, I put those over, nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
So I move to approve the accounts payable warrant W 2523 in the amount of $194,000, $194,224.42. Payroll warrant PW 2523 for $166,329.53, and payroll deduction warrant in the amount of $41,480.80.
Second, or first, first.
Second, oh, no, that was a motion, so. yes.
Second that
All
motion.
right. Meetings attended by select board members. Name.
I had none this week. It was very nice.
Public comments. Public. It's a slow week in comment.
Yes, it is.
Unfinished business, discussion and possible vote on the stipend for the highway superintendent. And since Chris is not here, I feel like this is one that we should table because I feel like it could use a full board consideration.
I was thinking the same thing when I was looking at the agenda. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so, and personnel committee has said that they don't believe that this is a personnel committee issue, so it's really entirely up to us, but I feel like, Chris had a lot of thoughts about this, and I don't feel comfortable just making that decision without him here.
Do we have proposed numbers for a stipend or hours over the normal that we're, like, do we have something to sort of wrap ourselves around?
Yes. So, let's see here, sorry, hang on a second. It's here, so you want me to share that with everybody at home, since it's
Yeah.
on the Zoom? Sure.
Oh, I look like I should
Right
eat
to the
with
right
my
glasses. Okay,
Just
so
Just a month.
Jan had put together, I'll just scroll up a little bit, Jan had put together 10 years of data of everybody
Oh, my.
who worked
Yeah.
and the number of hours, so I brought that all down here and did them all, go this way. So we don't get the names. So I just, added them all up here and did the average by person so I had to put the number of years they worked, the number of hours, and then average it. Then I did the average of the averages. And then a few of the people really only worked a couple hours in the season, so I took out the 3 lowest that really
That's
didn't do
great.
a season.
Excuse it. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the actual average of averages.
I like that.
So then the question is, how do you want to, so that's a normal season,
Yeah.
basically.
It's like around 100 hours of overtime.
So that's kind of what you got to go with.
Okay. You sent that to us.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it looked familiar.
But, let's table that until
I agree.
we have the full board. Okay, new business. Votes to close the warrants.
Yeah, so all that means is nobody will be giving us any more warrant articles.
Right, but that doesn't mean that we have, so the ones that you've been asked to consider from the Heroes Act, which,
They're already on the warrant, so all you need to do
Right,
is
so-
decide whether or not you're gonna keep them on.
um, Okay, so it's articles 27
Oh, you're looking for the
28.
one, okay.
that we may want to take off.
Yes, you're right.
Okay. So we were asked to consider articles 27 and 28, which has to do with tax exemptions for veterans. Property tax exemptions, and we're under no obligation to include this because this was just a request from, where's it?
Upper Pine Valley.
Upper Pine Valley. Given that we're probably gonna have to have, a special town meeting in December. And this could potentially have a significant impact on the budget, and we're under no obligation to include it. I am gonna suggest that we remove these articles from the warrant this year, at least for this particular town meeting, and possibly include them on our special town meeting warrant.
How many veterans do we have in town?
Oh,
So, our assessors prepared, yeah, if you could show the one that you had before, if they're very neat.
yep. Oh, wait. Sorry.
They prepared an estimate of what this could potentially cost,
Okay.
and it's not 100% clear to me the way that it's
Yeah,
explained.
so this is what it is right now for FY 24.
Yep,
So these are this is the current amount of exemptions that veterans in
Mhm.
town are receiving, around $20,000.
Yeah.
So if we did vote for this, for the Heroes Act, you know, that's gonna double, so that's a $20,000 hit to the town.
And the most would be the 55,769, which would take it up, you know, a good 35,000, which he said actually would bring the whole overlay from last year was 45 up to 90, over 90,000. So
So it's
it's a doubling impact.
Yeah.
It's on the overlay.
I mean, I'm,
I know,
I'm
it's so
absolutely in
important though,
favor
especially
of-
if they're,
yeah. So our final budget, so the final budget figure here, this does not reflect those numbers, is that correct?
Correct, so I could bring up. I'm a good share. I can bring up the recap and show you. Where it shows up in our budget. So. Okay, so this is our general fund budget in all the schools, so this is the total we're looking at. For our budget for this year. The overlay comes in, where it's right here. I did stick it in here just, and I said it includes the Heroes Act, just so you'd see the effect. But what this does is, it's part of our, raise, other amounts to be raised. So it comes into effect down here in the bottom line. It gets added to the 7 million. You know, as part of the total amount to be raised. So. It does affect the, tax levy. But it's not in the general.
so they're asking, this thing is asking for every town in Massachusetts to do this.
All the member towns of the Upper Pioneer Valley Rapids.
But I assume other parts of the state are doing that too.
I have no idea.
Okay, you haven't heard anything
No.
on state level.
Do we know if there are other towns that are putting this on the list?
What does it have to pass on the warrant?
The 2/3?
That's a good question. I honestly
Yeah.
don't know if it's a 2/3 or not.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I haven't sent it to Donna, and it has on there all the majority of voters, so she'll correct it.
And it's not income based, it's just
They
if you're a
do-
veteran, you,
No, they do have to qualify for the exemptions already, I believe. So.
but is that just as a veteran or just as a, is that income? Like you qualify because I'm a
No,
veteran?
I think it's both, you have to be a veteran and qualify for income, but I have to double check to make sure. I know we do with the current exemption that we do. That would be on our website.
so just as a point of order, if we vote to close the warrant, do we have to first take these off? of
I
the warrants?
would.
Okay,
I would, just
Yeah.
it's kind of cleaner that way. If there's something you don't want to be on there, I would just say.
so I'm gonna make a motion that we table articles 27 and 27, sorry, 27 and 28, remove those from this warrant and take them into consideration at a future special town meeting.
Would it go into effect the next tax year?
Yes, I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be until FY 26 anyway, but it might get delayed another year because the tax bills would have already gone out for the following year. So it might delay it. It does, I've just called up the website here, and so qualifying veterans have they already have an exemption?
Yeah,
Yeah, so, but it is qualifying, so it's, you have to be eligible.
so that would probably bring that number way down.
Yeah, because when they prepared that estimate, was he just taking into account like
All
all
the
the veterans? or
No,
just
he took into account the ones
the
who
ones
qualify
currently
already.
qualify
Oh, he
okay,
did?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
And the
that's,
number's that high?
that's why I wanted the assessors to give you the number, the actual financial impact on the town.
yeah,
So,
Well, I hate to delay it, but this is a big decision. It's a big
Yeah.
financial decision.
yeah,
We can't just do it because we think it's the right thing to do. We may not be able to afford it.
that was my concern. But I wanted to make sure that you had the numbers.
Well, that stinks, but I would second your motion.
okay, so we're gonna remove articles 27 and 28.
For future days.
For future consideration when we have the board.
And it'll probably be a fall special town meeting for the ambulance.
Okay.
So that could give us more time
To do our,
Yeah.
okay, I'm fine with that.
Higher for club charter. in our-
What a waste of paper. Can't we say read it online?
Yeah, we leave it out.
not according to our bylaws. I have to mail out the warrant, so
That's what it cost us. Wait, isn't it?
it's not gonna be pretty, but I have to work on the formatting. of
But
that.
they haven't done this in 30 years, so it's probably one time. like-
Yeah.
One-time waste of trees.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we close the warrant, for the 2025-26 town meeting. Which means that we won't place anything, we haven't voted on the individual articles, but that means we're not accepting any new additions to the town warrant as of this.
Is this the usual time of year?
Yeah.
To
Is this
close
the
it,
usual deadline?
yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be
Very generous that way.
And
Honestly, because at the next meeting, you're all gonna have to vote each of the articles, so that at the following meeting, I can have the copy there ready for you to sign. I mean, the very latest it would be the 5th, if something comes up.
I'm good, I'm seconding, all in favor, we're good. I don't want you guys doing any more work than you need to.
Okay, all right, so. We have voted to close the warrants. All right, next item, new business, discussion and vote to approve work on the TSA shed by Aaron Foster. Estimate of $5,163.20 to begin after July 1st, and the funding is to come from the transfer station, special revenue fund. So,
Which is
okay.
estimate.
Is this a kit?
No, this isn't the mall. This is for fixing up, for insulating the inside of the attendance shed.
Oh,
Which has
okay.
been put off for quite a while, and we got Aaron to give us this quote and. So, yeah, but we'll be able to take it out of the transfer station revenue fund.
So did we get multiple quotes or we don't need to? under this
No,
number?
no, with that number, we don't.
And is he a licensed contractor?
He is, and he does a lot of work. He's done some work for us before, but he does a lot of work for Jan and me. And he's also from Conway.
All good.
So,
Yeah, there's some-
so basically what he's gonna do is go in there and rip up the floor, put some insulation down, put the floor down again, and then insulate the inside of the shed. So stop the air leaks, it'll clean it up, it'll be a decent place to hang.
And they don't spend much time there in the summertime anyway, so it's, I mean,
Right,
so, yeah.
I know there's gonna be a lot going on in the transfer station this season.
No. Construction.
Right, between redoing the pad, getting that done, well, I still have to get 3 quotes for that. Getting the guy's shed done and then also getting a new mall, there's gonna be a lot of activity up there.
Might replace the Conway Inn as a hotspot.
I don't think that's possible, Alan, but
Well,
we can try.
we talked about, like, when we do have like, the mall back up and running, but we talked about like having, like a fashion show fundraiser,
Oh,
you know,
that'd be
like
right.
party up at the, you know, like.
Like the rendezvous, when all the
Yeah,
people left
exactly,
over,
yeah, right.
clothes from the laundromat, they have the drag queen.
Yeah,
So the way the shed's set up, the hometown actually came up today to look at it, because
Cool.
yeah, I mean, they were in town anyway for another customer, so I met him up there and you know, I would really like them to do the site prep, for 2 reasons. One, because Ron's got his hands full anyway, and he's already gonna have to deconstruct the current mall
Right.
and move a couple buildings for us. But then, you know, honestly, if they do the prep and they sit their building down on their work,
yeah.
I totally
they're
agree.
responsible, so.
yeah. But I'm excited, and the way the shed looks right now, so it's 30 feet wide, but it's only 14 feet deep.
Yeah.
But there's a window right where I wanted it to be, because when you walk in the back corner, I'd like to get like Aaron come in and put in a room.
Yeah.
That is just for the volunteers.
Yeah.
And that will have AC and heat.
Yeah.
So that they can work in comfort. The
Right.
rest of the building will be
Yeah.
unheated and
Right.
whatever, but at least that part they can.
Hopefully that'll make volunteering more attractive to.
Exactly, and I have gotten a couple people called to say that they're willing to be volunteers, and I just kind of got them on hold
Yeah.
because we don't have a mall yet, so.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think, I'll be honest, once it's up and running and everybody sees how pretty it is, I think
Oh, I agree.
there'll be a lot more interest.
Yeah, I agree. So I'll make a motion, we hire Mr. Foster to complete the work on the workers of the Conway Mall.
Seconds.
Oh, yeah, he's on the mall, he's on the.
Oh, yeah,
Attendance
shed,
yeah.
attendance shed, yeah.
All right, second, all in favor? Aye, okay. Are we gonna have a quorum now?
Theoretically, right, so he's join virtually, and honestly, it's going to be very first.
All right, so, then why don't we, before we get to the joint meeting with finance and capital improvements, items not anticipated, 48 hours, anything? TA update, you just went over half of it with the.
I did. Let me see, let's do that now. Oh, yeah, so Maya did get back to us on their, what they were suggesting for us for the life path, driver program. So there are a couple things in there I have questions about for Donna, so I'm gonna go over that with her. And then Phil has written up the job descriptions and posting, so we should, you know, I can just go ahead and do that if you all feel comfortable enough to not wait for Donna to get back on,
I mean, you have the information from Maya. right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I
unless she
feel-
has any big concern, yeah.
Well, there's a couple things in there that I have concerns about, that I just want her to go over and give me some guidance on before we
Okay.
write up that, but I don't have any problem with going ahead and post. Unfortunately, it was like, we just missed the permits. Because it just got printed. So is there anywhere else that, I mean, I could put things up like at Baker's and the post office and stuff if you want, I don't know how you want it.
I mean, it's like the job descriptions that.
Yeah, the job
so,
descriptions.
yes, right, this is- I mean, if we're putting up the warrant anyway. But I
Yeah.
can post that, so.
Yeah.
All the regular places, I think.
Okay, I did go over today, you know, personnel had sent our personnel handbook to Employers Association of is it Northeast, for review, and so that's back, and I've skimmed through it, and it was interesting. I mean, really good comments, but I was kind of thinking they might actually add whole sections, and I didn't see anything, you know, like any glaring gaps in what we already had.
That's good.
So that made me, yeah, I'm happier. So that I think I may have forwarded it to you all, so that you can look at it as well, and I'm sure we'll be meeting in person and go over that. So, yes, I'm just waiting for the check from the insurance company, so I can schedule to get that gate back up, because they can't even put it back up anymore. It's just,
Yeah, they told me
it's a
on
real problem.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah,
I wondered how you got in there today.
well, because there's just cones. I mean, it's a.
That's right, that's what they said.
Yeah, it's a bad, situation. And then the two, I talked to you about the two senior work-offs, so that's really all I have.
And a couple good days off.
And a couple of.
Well deserved.
Okay.
We could just, I mean, if you wanted to, you could just go through some of the, articles in there that are non-financial.
That are, yeah,
You know, I did try to put together the ones that repeat. Like about the select board being able, I put those all up in the very
And
front,
then,
is that where you wanted them?
just as long as they're all together.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like boom, 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 let's get those
Right,
three out
right.
of the way.
So, I'm not numbered.
Oh, you know, because I printed that out
Yeah,
before I numbered
okay.
them.
Okay, yeah, let's just start with that. So. Not the financial. To see if the town will vote to set the salaries of elected officials. This is like, we do this every year.
Yeah.
That one's a no-brainer. Authorize the treasurer collector to enter into compensating balance agreements.
Yep.
Allow the select board to apply for, accept, and expend grant money.
On that one, by the way, I did find that we had a bylaw on that, and when I spoke to town council, she said,
Right.
just did it anyway, and then, you know, there's no question.
Yeah, okay, so we'll do the.
And yeah, anything that says finance, probably we hold off on,
Right.
right? But, so it's probably at the very,
Well, although, you know what, even, it's listed finance for recommendation
For
for
that,
even
yeah.
those other ones too, so.
that's true. Yeah, it's any money article.
Howdy, how you doing? Go with the chair. Okay. Hi.
Is it okay if we start with Janet, since we don't have to write on it? Fine with finance and. Okay, welcome. Hope Janet Chase from.
Hopefully we shouldn't long. With me is Mac McCoy, a vital member of our open space committee.
I write all the minutes.
He keeps us
Great.
organized, he tells us what to do.
You're doing a great job.
He, anybody ever read our minutes? Come on. That's okay, if they're there. Okay, well, a little background, I'm Janet and.
Oh, this is our finance committee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are on my case.
Can you say that, Brianna?
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so the open space committee tries to take care of the town properties that are open, a couple of meadows, the South River Meadow. And we've just started on an ambitious Bigelow Meadow across the street. There, it's got a beautiful new sign. We sort of follow this big Bible, the open space and recreation plan. That we spent a lot of time with a lot of input developing. It's got pages of a management plan, activities, and how we're supposed to get a lot of these things done. Okay, this is required by the state every 7 years.
Which allows for grant money to come. once you-
Yes.
provide that document.
Yep, yes. Just remembering how this- Okay, back in 2016, the committee had started working around the perimeters of the South River Meadow. This was after the big project, the restoration project, and what we're gonna do with it. And we started cleaning it up. and making some improvements, had some planning. But we were a little bit, how are we gonna manage what needed to be done? Well, the previous town administrator, Tom Hutchinson, called me up and he said, I've identified some money that you can use to take care of that and help implement the open space and recreation plan. And this money came from the small cities grant. This was July 2016. He said he had spoken to the prior accountant. But is, what we're supposed to do with that little pot of money that they found. And the previous accountant was FERCog, Joyce Merca. Anybody's probably before your time, but she was the manager and she became the manager and she was very skilled and very helpful. And when we get the CPA monies back properly accounted for, and I mean, she's not gonna tell somebody you can do something. And anyway, okay, so with that money, and then we were like, really? And he came to an open space committee and told us the same thing. And we contracted with Lori Sanders, a noted naturalist in the area, to do a big plan for the meadow. Which then we had public forums and we spent at the most $3,000. And it was a process and it's really been our blueprint. And she did the beautiful maps of the sections. Okay. And then the funds have been there since that was 2016, 2017. And we just always knew we had them on tap until I went to try to use them this past not too long ago. And the current town administrator and Veronique and Mike, the accountant, said, hey, but we can't find that this is. So this is where we're in a situation now with us having planned and laid out kind of our long-term visions of things that we want to do that, that we need to do. We made some commitments and yes. And we have hopes and dreams of seeing some of these projects to fruition, which we can't do without including some operating money. I mean, we have applied for whenever I could, little grants, some grants, pollinator grant, well, not this year, and so on and so forth. So Veronique said that, well, we need to sort of verify, reauthorize this money, and there's a warrant article to reallocate that money for this purpose. Have I said anything wrong? Not just like this one. Did I say anything?
No, I would just say that what I have been told is that as town administrator, I have no authority to say to anybody that they can or cannot use money if we can't find what the original purpose was.
Right,
And so Mike had suggested that the best way to deal with it was to have a warrant article
right,
moving everything over under open space.
right. It makes sense.
And we could, I mean, not that we need the warrant to be any longer, but we could certainly include this. as a-
That could be a handout.
Yeah, if it's, just to show that it's something, yeah.
So there's no language what this money was intended to.
We could not uncover anything. We couldn't actually find the original source. It went back to like the 80s.
Wow.
Well, the 90s, I think the 90s, or whatever,
It
yeah.
was like 89 or
probably,
something where,
yeah.
A pot of money that came in even before Tom Hutchinson was.
Oh, way before.
Okay, so we don't,
Yeah, we just couldn't find any records that said,
this is.
and since it was called small cities, we thought
Yeah.
maybe it was CUNG, but we just. couldn't.
Yeah, I'm for why.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to find where is it?
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, do you guys want to go ahead and open your
Oh, really?
meeting over?
Okay, make a motion to call the finance committee into order.
Second.
I make a motion to approve the finance committee minutes of April 14th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So Roy, I was just explaining how we were sort of earmarked this pot of money and this article is a reauthorization to basically use it to implement this open space and recreation plan. And I hope everybody will read it. It's online at our, it's online at, under the open space committee.
How much money is in the fund again?
So 43. 420 something.
And once that's gone, you won't have any more funds.
Right. But I outlined this to 2019.
Yep.
So
2021.
2020. So this is obviously estimated. I did not have
Yeah,
time
but
to
it's-
get,
yeah.
to get detailed costs, things change. You know, who's gonna
Yeah, mowing's low.
do it?
They're
Who's
gonna
gonna-
have, you know, sheep.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We've considered that, then we discussed, yeah, sure, bring them on, but the only thing is you keep the fences up.
Right,
And move them. when
and
they're-
goats only eat what they wanna eat, not what
That's
you
it.
want them to eat.
Maybe we'll stick with sheep.
Yeah, I think they're easier
There
to
is some
direct.
poison ivy in there that we're, but man, why don't you tell them a little bit about the Bigelow Meadow, you know, we had a walk and we're gonna, you know, some of the plant, we was up there the other day.
Well, regarding mowing, you see it actually is higher budgeted for the Bigelow Meadow than some other places.
Yeah.
Because it's, the idea is to take it from just a sort of rough, unable to walk meadow and have a small, simple circle and place where people can sit and enjoy, and it's maintained enough so that it's kind of an example of what a, actual wildflower meadow could be like. And preserve the space and to keep it from becoming completely overrun by invasives, which it is beginning to
Yeah.
go that way. So the very basic maintenance that's happened is now to be a more selective type of maintenance. Especially beginning this year to create a simple path. It's not going to intrude on neighbors, which is, the neighbors have been invited to any number of meetings where we've slowly begun the process. So, it's part of the committee's job to try to promote this development there.
That's a great idea.
And I mean, it's an immediate to the village space for people to enjoy
Yeah,
as a, additional loop to South River Meadows. So there's really two quite nice and increasingly picturesque places to have some recreational time.
We've been, as you know, we've been working with our volunteer wonderful consultant, Owen Wormsner, who's written a book on turning your lawn into a meadow. And recently he said yes, and answered my question, what about some barrier hedges, some trees for barriers? And we're recently for this year, he suggested a couple of 3 new trees and some shrubs. And I said, well, what about some real hedging for the Michelle's house at the bottom? And then, well, some hedging along by it, and we're not getting little saplings, we would get something. So, there's a price to that, and then watering and maintaining and so forth. And there's a lot of work still needs to be done at the South River Meadow. And then down near, sort of near the bottom of the page, I've been concerned about all these invasive plants everywhere else. Like at the transfer station. And there's some out here, there's just a little ball field. These things take take some care and expertise, because there's some beautiful some beautiful shrubs out there, but they're the good ones next to the bad ones, and they have to be dealt with carefully.
Challenges balance of volunteers to organize the things as well as to bring contractors, find it at a reasonable price as
Right.
well as your materials. So, well, what are the steps that select board needs in further support from the committee to go ahead with the transfer of account and that sort of thing?
So we won't be voting until next week on each individual, warrant article, but it is on the warrant. We closed the warrant, so it won't come off and it won't add anything else to it. And this is incredibly helpful because we can include this with our, handouts at town meeting and we can, you know, when we do our warrant light, we can say there's a full budget to account for this money that we plan, assuming we vote that way next week.
Right.
To transfer. So we have to make, the select board has to make a recommendation and I'm in finance too, because this is money, so.
Right.
I think there was a written statement, very briefly, back and forth in some emails. Do you need any summary of?
Just the
what
summary of
this
the
is?
background.
And here's the
Yeah, no,
the
yeah,
numbers.
I think we have all of that, so we can.
Okay.
we can
You
make
have,
the-
have it, I mean.
Okay.
no.
all right.
Really, you
So you're all
tell
set.
the who's to administer the grant, and the grant is reimbursable.
What? It's just money that's sitting there.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
This is a special revenue fund,
Oh, okay.
like, we have quite a few.
So we have the money in, oh, great.
We have the money sitting there, it had been promised. And what
We
we're
just
just
have
trying
to
to,
formalize the process.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's all this
That's
is.
it.
It's-
because our
Okay.
current
It's
accountant
literally
just wasn't comfortable with us just
All right.
saying,
Yeah.
go ahead and spend the money without a town meeting.
But there may be questions at
Yeah.
the pre-town meeting or the
Right.
town meeting, which I'm
But
sure.
I mean, in
you
terms
guys
of the
will
grant,
understand.
documenting the grant, you have to have sheets and so on has to be.
No, that's, so it isn't a grant, this is something that came in
We have no idea how we got this
decades
money.
ago.
Oh.
And we don't know, this is the
All
problem,
right.
that's
So
actually
it's a
the
gift.
crux
They
of
call
the
it a gift
issue.
on
Yeah,
a grant.
right, exactly. So we, yeah,
And
so
it's
we,
for the semantics, because grants come with things attached.
Right,
Good
So-
point.
So we
All
just
a
have
gift
to,
is a gift.
so we have to go through the process of allocating this towards the cause.
That's it.
Formality.
And then what would
If
happen,
money, I would spend it.
Yep.
what would happen is just like a lot of the other things that we, town meeting says, yes, this can go under this account. These monies would then be transferred to, the general fund under open space, and it would be absolutely clear then open space uses this money. So that's really all it is, it's just
Yeah.
I mean-
taking it.
I guess in
Crystal
theory,
clear.
Parks and Rec could say, actually, this money, should
Come to us.
should come, I mean, anybody. like-
Anybody
Yeah.
could say, yes.
But this is a very good, this is a strong
Right.
argument.
Good
You guys
news.
have the notes and the documentation.
And then the
that,
deal is after they're from all around.
Right.
Yeah, good point.
That's the exercise. you know, they have to
Exactly.
follow it.
And if somebody wants to share,
Yes,
consider that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as
It's mainly to be used for the town, to improve.
for, yeah.
Right.
There we go, and,
Okay.
and,
Great.
needs
don't wanna
will change and
take up
shift,
more.
and
Oh,
this was.
right, but at least this is,
You know,
the-
it's a
I'd like,
general guide, we're not gonna have to go back to town meeting if we wanna.
no, once it's
No.
in that,
No.
there, it's done.
Right,
No,
we
that will
just-
be open.
yeah,
space. If
formalizing
they
the
vote
process,
that-
just-
I'd like to just quickly share this and give it to you. This is from the town of Norfolk in Northwest Connecticut. My wife received it because her family owns a property there. So this came from about the new firehouse, and it was basically to all citizens of the town, which is a similar sized town to this one. And they're basically, the head selectman is trying to present why to fund the new firehouse. And I thought it was an incredible example, pretty fancy one.
Boy, I spent a lot of money on that printout.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can afford
That's
that.
a
It's a
heavy hitter area.
very
Very
similar
interesting.
sized town, but they do get a lot of New York summer
Yeah, they have,
people.
Yes.
So they have some extra money, but there were some really good, interesting points of reasons why, presentation, et cetera. You could boil it down if you were trying to have some initiative in Conway that you needed citizens to understand. I thought it was great. I'll just leave it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that would be very.
Thank you for
helpful.
coming,
Sure.
and we will get on.
We'll
with the
get
warrant.
out.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for all the work you do.
Thank you.
I enjoy South Meadow at the time.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good. As long as you keep those wild dogs away.
Well,
My dogs are wild.
No, I mean,
the big project
Yeah.
is signed.
Oh, coyotes.
oh, yeah, we're working on our signs, our interpretive big sign.
You want this, glossy,
Who Mike's gonna leave
Yeah,
that?
that's.
Oh,
No, that's for us.
Right.
I mean, it's not, this is the whole package, you kind of have to. put it all
Okay,
together.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, so.
It either has
We
to
look forward to
put
your
itself
vote.
out.
All right,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you, Dan.
Thank you. Wow, this is fancy.
Kind of a heavy hit of town.
Yeah, we don't. We don't have a PR budget. My marketing budget. Okay, all right, thank you.
Look at this, look at the fanciness of that firehouse.
And that's just like a rendition, right?
We could not let our fire.
Well, yeah. They might want to move in there. Hey, right.
Just an artist rendition of what the firehouse might look like.
Wow,
That's it. Someone wins the lottery and decides.
look at that. Our guys cannot see this.
Doesn't have a fire floor.
I don't know, might.
That's what we're in.
I know for that kind of thing. Okay. All right, review of the draft warrant. What do we want? Do you guys, you want to put it up here? Do you have a version that has numbers?
I believe. Okay, yes, I have the version that has.
Okay. So Verity grouped the annual things that we vote on that are just kind of like housekeeping, so, well, number one is the full budget, right? 1 and 2. Right.
One is just hearing the reports, so that's
Okay.
basically our annual report.
Two
And
is the
2
full-
is, the main budget, so. And if you all wish to vote on any of these tonight to make it shorter next week,
Oh, that's right, because you guys have a forum, so
Yeah,
you
we do.
can, so if you guys want to go ahead and do that,
Sure.
we won't take any votes because Chris isn't here, I feel like he's not gonna weigh in.
You know what, though, I mean,
You want this?
you asked, that's where I make my comments.
I think they're all finished. We're going to vote on Article 2.
No,
No.
yeah, everything after.
Or, if you want to do it while you're all together and just go through and do the select board, I mean, however you all want to do it, it's fine.
So select board is not voting tonight, just finances?
I don't know, that's up to you guys.
Okay.
I mean, on some of those, you might want to just, the ones that are just on every year, like she
Right.
said, if setting
We
the
can vote on
salaries
those.
and that, that I could certainly.
Where's one?
One is the annual report,
Oh, right, okay,
so that's to hear the reports of.
yeah,
Um,
yep, okay, so
Sorry,
then we're on to 3,
yeah,
gotcha. So this whole first page is perfunctory ones we do every year.
the first,
The first 3 or
4
4.
and 5 are, and then it starts going into the stabilization.
3, okay, 3,
Yeah.
4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5 are, because Erica had asked that, and I guess other people had asked that we group the ones that are just
Right.
wrote, we do them every year, they have to be in there,
So you guys can vote on 3, 4, and 5.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the Article 3 as presented, brought into setting salaries. Can I take a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. All right. 3 A's,
So that's. We can vote this one.
Article 3.
Yeah, if you want to vote on it too, just get them out of the way.
Yeah, I vote.
I make a motion, we approve 3, to set the salaries of elected officials.
Second, my only, is it gonna look weird if Chris isn't here? and it's like-
Not on these,
Not on those 3. I don't
Okay,
think.
all right.
Well, I mean, that's up to you guys.
no,
That's, because it's not unanimous, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Because
so
it's normally 3.
Yeah,
So yeah, if you want to wait,
and
Okay.
we can go through this. really
because
quick.
theirs is now on here 302, so
okay,
3 yays, no
2
nos,
and-
and 2 not here.
okay. All right, good, all right, on to 4.
Article 4. See the town authorize the treasurer collector and assistant collector treasurer to enter the compensation balance of these 26 as permitted by MGL code. Any discussion? You know what that is?
Yes, because I have to explain it every year in the warrant, but I just can't remember the past. It's not the top of my head, but I can find it.
It's actually one that it could be, we could do it every 3 years. But because towns tend to forget what year you're on, they just
Yeah.
throw it in the warrant every year.
Not taking balance. Just keeping balance, that's all. It's a housekeeping.
Well, that's, that essentially.
yeah.
Keeping that vested money.
We never had one, something like.
Every year.
Yeah, this is a
Every year,
required
yes.
article which allows the treasurer and collector to enter into agreements with banking institutions,
Yeah.
which is a basic function of the position.
Right.
We do it every year.
Right, a yes vote grants 3 years permission to do so. In reality, rather than track this every 3 years, we just do it annually.
All right.
To negotiate. It's required, that's all. I make a motion to approve Article 4 as presented. Any second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
So we're not voting on it. this week.
Yeah, I feel like we
Okay.
should wait for, I mean,
Okay. All right, on
Oh,
to 5.
sorry.
Article 5, to see if the town will vote to allow the select board to apply for, accept, and expend state, federal, and other grants that not require a town appropriation of time and approval. And other action related thereto. Any discussion? This would be for, any other kind of funds that come in. Whatever reason.
Just how to do business.
That's it. Any discussion? Discussion? No? I make a motion to approve Article 5 as presented. Here a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Okay, so, I don't know quite how you wanna do it, if you wanna wait for the big money articles until Chris is here, or,
well, I mean,
because you don't have to vote.
yeah, I think if finance wants to vote though, I mean, if you guys feel comfortable voting on these.
Sure.
Okay.
You can always dismiss ourselves earlier next week.
There you go. And this was all from our discussion last week.
So the premise here would be that tapping these free cash amounts and this and that would keep the 3% of the free cash of the operating.
Yes, do you want me to stop sharing and just show you the recap
Sure,
page on the
that'll
omnibus?
be good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, start sharing again.
You did,
I did.
it was up there.
It's up there, but that doesn't mean I shared it with the,
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so, so. Over here, just to show, this was what you all worked on the last time, which was
Yep.
the free cash, right? And the one that I found, I had forgotten, which I apologize, is the tax title revolving fund. That warrant article, I will actually probably need to change the language a little bit, because Mike just emailed me today and said that what we really should do is not just do the tax title monies when they come up, but have the same kind of general fund budget rolls over every year, so it's just there and you can fund it every year instead of, so I'll just have to tweak that.
And when's the last time you changed this revolving fund? Was it 10,000?
For title tax,
Yeah,
or tax title, sorry, Jan just lets me know how much she thinks she needs in there.
I read something about, we have overlay last year, 45,000, and I'm concerned that maybe we should break it up. in tax type.
This is, I have to go by what she tells me, because
Right.
it's not, yeah, that's for the tax titles, that's,
So that's
separate
not-
from the overlay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not, yeah. Yeah, so let's see, okay, the tax title, so that one I have to. So what I will change the language to say is that it'll go into a general fund revolving account, but it's 10,000.
Just be curious to know when the last time that revolving fund was increased, just, because our budget's obviously grown a lot.
Yeah, I don't remember what warrant it was on the last time.
You can ask Michael.
Yeah, so this, you can see the ending balance before, when you all were working on it, was 278, now it's 265 because of a let's see what else was in there. Oh, I had to correct the IT migration based on their contract. That we all went over and approved, and then also adding the tax title, so. We just changed it. But those are all the amounts for the articles. So now if you want to see, move over again. So going through this sheet, this is the tax, the recap that we go through every year. So there's the general fund budget. Grammar School, Frontier, Franklin Tech, and you don't have anything for the other tech schools. So there's the amount in the general fund. And if I flip it over here, you will see that that's the same number as there. Oops, sorry. So it's the 7161734.
Yep.
That's the total. So, shoot. So then, we take into account all of the different money articles that are in the warrant. So, and where they're coming from, so that's what the list of all this is. So let me know if there's anything in there. Oh, you know what, one of the things I had forgotten, and boy, I hope I put it. I did. The $5,000 that I was hoping to take, did I mention that before, that I wanted to take from under the town administration, there's a grant match and administration fund that has like $18,500 in it right now. And I wanted to take out $5,000 to be able to print this new guide to Conway. I figured that was an easy place to take the money from, so there would be an article just saying. So I hope I have it in there because you closed the window. Just see if I can find it.
Otherwise, we have to reopen the warrant and put it back in there.
Right. Yes, I did. Okay, it's in there.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what all those are. And right in here, it does say, it did have the open space in there, just so you see that.
Yep.
That was in the warrant. These are the estimated, from the governor's estimated for how much money is gonna be coming in, off the cherry sheet. That's all subject to change. That's from the governor's cherry sheet, but the House has just put one out too, so
Needs to go to the center.
Yeah. it's a moving target.
Yeah.
This will change. I can change that right now. I'm gonna take it back down to the 45,000 it was, because we're not including. And I'll get a firm number from them.
So I'm on a firm number on the impact of the Bureau Act.
We
Yeah,
voted.
Yeah,
Time-
we're
voted.
tabling that, we're
We're
not putting that on
tabling
the
it
warrant,
for-
'cause it could potentially be a significant hit
Yeah,
to the town budget.
Not that we're not in support of it, it's just,
yeah.
it's bigger
So,
consideration,
statement.
right?
Oh, well, it's not, I mean, it's not even, it's just, it was a request from the Upper Pioneer Valley Veterans Association, so we don't even know how, like, what other towns are putting it on the warrant, if other towns are putting it on the warrant, but we think that we'll probably have to have a special town meeting.
For the
for
ambulance
the
anyway.
ambulance anyway, so there will be an opportunity if we feel like we wanna do it.
All right, so you can decide what they're gonna do.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so this number right there is the total amount that has to be raised therefore, and then you come into the revenue sources and, you know, of course, all these get put in here again because it's revenue and, you know, anyway. So that takes you down to the recap itself. And I have not put in here, I haven't adjusted the maximum tax levy for this year, so that's not complete yet. I have to see what that is.
We're all below the levy.
We have no worries, we're nowhere near.
Like $1 million.
Yeah, we're nowhere near a prop two, but anyway, so, and again. So that's your free cash and what you're doing. Okay. And between
So
that.
yes, we're at the recommended estimate. or
Well,
above.
yes, but if I remember correctly, you wanted to include general stabilization together with remaining free cash to have that make the 5%.
Correct.
Is that what you said last
Yeah,
time?
that's recommended practice.
Right, okay. So, and that should do it.
Yep.
Yeah, that should do it.
Absolutely, yep,
Yeah,
all right.
So.
Was the warrant.
Do you want to continue on with the? it's up to you guys.
Yeah, as long as finance is good, I mean,
Yeah.
because if you would, whatever you guys felt down, that's one,
That time?
what you were thinking what to do next week.
We're continuing to vote on audit.
All right, so we were back to number 6.
Yep, free cash.
Yeah. Article 6, the big one. To see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash $75,000 to the Conway Grammar School Capital Stabilization Fund. And taking action also there too. Any discussion? Right now, we have a balance of $232,000, $238,000.
In what?
The
Grammar
school,
school
yeah.
stabilization.
Oh, yeah.
With boilers on the way,
Yeah, right.
potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second. Oh, I'm gonna make a motion to approve. All in favor? Thank you.
Fire truck.
All right. To see if the town, Article 7, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash $75,000 to the fire truck stabilization fund as follows. Fire department $75,000 to save for a new rescue pumper. Expected purchase in 2028, taking action also there too. Any discussion? Ready to vote? So this is the first in this fund?
No,
Stabilization?
no,
No, we've been doing this.
Been doing it for years.
Yeah. This will have $375,000. I know, but is it a specific for the fire, or refresh my mind?
yes, we're
Yeah.
adding to
Yeah.
the fund that already exists.
And I think last year we put in 100.
We put 100 each of the last
Yeah,
2 years.
but- yeah.
That's what-
Which is the new fund we created?
Highway.
Okay, that's.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, make a motion to approve, anyone second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Oops, sorry.
Article 8. See if the town will vote to transfer from free cash $75,000 to the ambulance stabilization fund as follows. Ambulance department $75,000 in purchasing the ambulance, we're taking the action also there too. And for discussion, the purchase price of the ambulance, we hope it is no higher than 400,000. Who knows, right?
Who knows?
And I will have a special time meeting there. to discuss further.
How much is in the fund currently?
I think that's 330.
Yeah,
This will take it
330.
to 400.
Yeah.
I believe.
And we expect to-
2028.
Yesterday. Well,
No, this
supposedly,
one
but
sooner.
it might be sooner because this.
Oh, the ambulance, okay.
Ambulance, ambulance.
The last new one we got was it wasn't totally new, it was a hybrid.
Correct.
Yeah,
New
This one
box,
will be totally new.
Should be totally new,
Yes.
at a cost of,
We don't know yet. She's getting, that's the reason it's not on this warrant.
yeah. But it makes sense to
well,
approve.
these are questions. Gonna ask.
Yeah, sure. Well, Gemma can speak, I mean, but, you know, we
Yeah.
know the minimum price is going to be 400,000.
She'll have those,
And then-
she'll have that ready by the town meeting.
And right now, we, hopefully, won't be 200.
Yep.
So I have to borrow money. Any further discussion? I make a motion to approve, any second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So there's the one you were talking about, right?
So let me ask you a question. If John can we agree that if John has some issues or questions with any of these, that we could reopen those and revote them if necessary?
He was here last week. I think
Yeah.
he was in agreement with all of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were here last week and we'll take.
Well, I mean, we're not
Bill-
voting,
Bill can-
we're not voting right now because Chris isn't here, so I mean, I would assume that if you guys are here next week, if you wanted
Right,
to.
but Johnny was here for the conversation
yeah.
last week that we outlined all of these
That's
things.
it. Yeah, I know, but
After much
sometimes,
rehashing, we.
sometimes you think about it, sometimes you see it,
Yeah.
and it's
Would
like.
you,
a lot of-
I mean, that's up to the finance committee. If you prefer to wait till next week. When John, is John gonna be here next week?
Well, I'm not saying we should wait, I'm saying that if there's articles he
Oh,
has
if
an
he has-
issue with, So we can reopen those?
This is not even to, put money in one, this is Article 9 to talk about,
Just to create. the
Creating
fund.
this fund.
which he already has said is a good idea.
Okay, well, I'm talking about the ones
Oh, it's fine.
and the amounts.
I mean, I'm fine with you guys for your vote, and if John
No.
wants to.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it-
Because it's only three of us.
Right, yeah, so that's why I'm waiting, because I feel like I would rather have the votes that I know are gonna be unanimous, I'd rather have those say that they're unanimous, rather than say two votes and
Yeah.
one, you know, and someone not here.
Means we can leave a little earlier next week.
There you go.
So. I mean,
We're on creating a highway
yeah,
stabilization.
okay, so we're gonna continue. but
Yes,
Suppose he thought about it, says, well, I think only 65,000.
We're not putting any money on it.
Oh, that's in this one, but on,
yes,
on
yeah.
one of the other.
Well,
Well, I mean, for
okay.
instance, last year, Chris was in favor of, like, when we all voted, he was in favor of the motion about having non-residents serve on zoning boards. We didn't revisit that before town meeting, but he, stood up at town meeting, and I had voted for this, I voted in favor of this article, and then he was like rescinding his vote basically publicly, so. it's-
there's lots of options.
Yeah.
He had hired numerous.
Yes. All right, we're still on 9.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve Article 9 as presented. Create the new highway stabilization fund, to use the purchase of highway vehicles and equipment in action also there too. Second, all in favor? We can defer voting on Article 10 to next week, so when Chris is here and John is here, they're gonna take over the present.
Completely up to you all.
Do you want to do the, defer the rest of them?
You excavator, well, 10 and 11 probably should defer.
Okay,
You said defer to those?
Yes.
How about you're in the capital improvements, right?
you might as well
Highway
defer that
tractor.
too then.
Capital improvements, I don't believe will. I'm not sure, will they have a quorum? But they're here next week.
John's here, Lloyd's here. Hope you'll be here next week.
This is on-
I don't think we won't.
This is, yeah, this is.
So,
All right,
So we'll
let's-
wait to, we'll pass
Yeah,
on as well.
we're gonna hold these, yeah?
yeah,
All right.
Is that it?
No, there's like 20 something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you guys wanted to,
Oh, well, the highway grader from state disaster relief fund, we can, that's money we already have.
I wouldn't give them.
Exactly. So,
Okay.
I make Article 13, to see if the
sure,
town
there'll
will
be
vote.
plenty of reasons, with your votes, I mean,
Yeah, the vote to transfer $200,000 from the state disaster relief funds for the purpose of a used highway grader, taking action also there too. Any discussion? I just think that people probably want to see, where can we get that?
Yeah.
Show me it, show me it. We have the money, show me where we can get it.
Yeah.
Second,
well, this
All in
is-
favor?
I,
Aye. 13. 14. See the town will look to transfer $52,000 from free cash for the police detail special revenue fund, take any action relative there too.
second,
All in favor?
I,
That's my revenue to the town.
Yeah,
I'm glad you all voted for it. Good. Hopefully we can raise that number next year, depending on,
really.
we have more work, more powerful. 15, to see if the town will vote to transfer $42,546 from the ambulance receipts fund to the ambulance department's operational expense account for a partial payment expense, and taking action also there too.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Carries 3-0.
There's the guy, Conway, more
Article
efficient
60,
than you think.
to see if town will vote to transfer $5,000 from the grants match administrative general fund account into a separate town administration general fund account to pay for the printing and mailing. But a guide to Conway, take any action on there too. Any discussion? All in favor? Article 17, to see if the town will to transfer $1,000 from free cash into the OPEB trust fund, taking action also there too. Any discussion? Second. All in favor? I mean, if we by chance have a special increase, whatever, windfall of town revenue, we can always up this at special town meeting here if we wanted to. Right? With the OPEB.
Yeah, yeah,
We
absolutely.
can always vote, because in the past, we put in $10,000, some years we put in 20,000.
We put in 20,000 every year since I've been here, and if the special town meeting is held after free cash is certified. So this one, 18, is the one I'm gonna have to change the wording on and check,
All right.
because it would go into a general fund.
So we wanna hold on it.
So I'm assuming, I have to say, this is all assuming that town council doesn't come back and say need to reword anything, but.
Yep.
We go to Article 19. To see if the town will vote to transfer $10,699 from free cash to the debt service for the highway garage facility. As a partial payment to the debt service, or take any action relative there too. Any discussion? This is part of what we agreed to get back in the foreign money to have a stable level fund, a level amount of a principal reduction. Second, all in favor? Carries. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfers from available funds or otherwise provide the sum of $6,000 as a partial contribution for the future evaluation of the town, and take any action relative there too. Kind of have no choice. Article, any further discussion? Second. On favor? Aye.
Question, Bernie?
Yeah.
This current Article 2, do we have an estimate for the the average tax bill, any of that?
No, I don't have any of that yet. For the next 2 now.
You know when we'll have that?
I could probably try to have that by next week, depending on what information I can.
I mean, just the tax rate is what. Talking. Well, no,
Right.
no, what we're talking. Was the values change too, and some people want to look, all they can do is look at the current tax bill
Yeah,
and multiply it.
I kind of hesitate, and especially since the overall budget last year increased, what was it, 3%? Almost 2.89%, something like that. And this year it's half that. The overall increase,
Yeah.
so,
You don't even have our new growth estimates, in
yeah, 140,000,
that's all.
that's what she said, or Steve.
That's an estimate. And of course, we don't have it finalized, the free cash is certified,
Yeah.
sometime in October.
Yeah, those are the estimates.
It's
So,
always,
I know.
put the cart before the horse.
All right, so you did that one,
Article
sorry.
21,
That's it for the new folks.
Last
Yeah.
year was 100.
100.
It was less.
Yeah, this year it's 140. I'm going for it. Is it because of the, new utility poles coming in, is more of them?
I don't know, could be. He just gave me the number.
I feel really good now about paying that, guys. Every building.
It's hard to feel good about paying that, although I'm glad to pay my solar panel.
Yeah. All right, Article 21, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds or otherwise provide the sum of $2,995. The Field Memorial Library Development Accreditation will take any action relative there too. Any discussion? On,
Second.
in favor?
Aye.
That's the. It's probably one of the best, $2,995 times.
No kidding.
It kind of count. All right, sorry, Mr. I know scrolling is hard on your eyes. I just wanted to let you all know that in this one in 22, the one thing that's changed is the transfer station. We're upping it to 20,000 because this year we had to ask for more out of it, so why not raise the limit in case something more happens? And actually, that's where the money for Aaron Foster to do the work he was supposed to
Okay.
come out of.
That's great.
So do you ever get, when you, on the metal, scrap metal that we collect, do we make money on that? or-
We do, it's not a great amount because
$2,000
the haul, the cost for the dumpster and the
offset.
haul basically takes out a lot of the, but we do get revenue for it. Which is part of the reason why the select board changed the pricing to not charge people for things that the town gets revenue.
Yeah, no, we're very fair when it comes to, old waste disposal.
We made big improvements this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Article 22, see if the town will vote to rate or authorize the following fiscal year 26 expenditure limits. The town of Conway revolving funds pursuant to MGL 44, section 53.5. In the town of Conway bylaw up to 5,000 from the Medicaid revolving fund. That's mostly for Conway grants for the students there.
I believe so.
Yep.
Up to $6,000 from home licenses fund. Up to $20,000 from the transfer station revolving fund. Up to $10,000 from the newsletter revolving fund. $20,000 for the Conway Youth Sports Program revolving fund. We're taking action relative there too. Any further discussion? We haven't really increased the Medicaid revolving fund.
The youth sports, what was that figure for this year, do you know?
I do not know. And I'm not even sure. I haven't checked to see how much was in there. I just checked with Jan about the Medicaid and youth sports and with Lori about doc licenses. And I can tell you, transparency, there is not $10,000 for the newsletter revolving fund, so we couldn't
Yeah.
use that much anyway.
Yeah,
But
Okay, so yeah, so these are just maximum.
absolutely.
that's it.
The fund doesn't have anything, it doesn't
We're
have.
not,
Correct.
we can't print money.
No,
That's a
I
bummer.
just want to know what's,
Like where the
Yeah.
numbers came from.
if they expanded the youth
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah,
dramatically.
The only one I'd say is that Medicaid revolving fund, we haven't increased in a long time.
Well, I'm sure they're tracking. They would,
Yeah, if Jan needed more, she would have.
yeah, she's on it.
Well, you can always, special time meeting. Any further discussion?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye, there's the. thank you.
Yes, that's the end of that.
Now, Article 23, do you want to accuse yourself for this or?
Yeah, fine.
Fine, what? You want to recuse? You're gonna read the further.
Oh.
comment.
I'm gonna vote for it.
And
So,
my apologies, that should actually say come from free cash. So I'll make that change, just so it's clear that it's coming from free cash.
if folks want me to excuse myself, I will, but I'm gonna vote for it.
I think it's fine.
Well,
Totally fine.
Article 23, to see if town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer from free cash or otherwise provide the sum of $14,052 for one-time costs associated with migrating the town's electronic files to Microsoft Cloud we're taking the action relative there too. Any further discussion?
Can I just ask Roy if I worded that correctly?
Oh,
It's,
It's
Okay.
it's very understandable, so in that way.
counts electronic files. From. It's really from premise base to Microsoft Cloud.
It's fine.
All right, so as long as it's, yeah. Should I put a the in there to the Microsoft Cloud?
to the Microsoft Cloud.
It's more. Well, I don't know.
It's
if-
fine.
If people. Town meeting asks for specifics. Give those specifics.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I was actually saying the correct thing.
You get lost in the.
As a person who doesn't understand that stuff, it's very understandable. So I think it's well
You can
worded.
get lost in the weeds with this.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
You know,
any further discussion? Make the motion, anyone for a second,
second,
all in favor?
I,
Thank you. Very unanimous. 3-0. All right, next one, Article 24, you just heard from Janet. and Mike.
Mhm.
Each one is-
We have a whole presentation on
That's
this one.
Article 24, to see if town will vote to appropriate $43,419 for the administration and implementation of the town's open space and recreation plan. And to meet said appropriation, the town shall transfer the remaining balance of $43,419 in the small cities grant fund, 416, to the general fund, for taking action also there too. So even though it's kept addressed, we still need a 2/3 vote. So we can
It's not-
It's just making it a formal process, that's all.
It's a
Okay.
transfer from this revolving special revenue fund to a revolving general fund account under open space.
Yeah, we already have one.
So we already have the money.
Formalizing it up
Any further discussion? All in favor?
second.
versus hearsay.
Thanks.
That was 3-0.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Would we be able to get from Mike, like, is there any way to figure out the exact date that this money wound up in our coffers?
They did.
No, you tried.
So we just
No,
have no idea.
We spent 6 months researching
Yeah,
this and we
okay.
just couldn't. There's just no records.
Uh-huh.
So now this one, we have two prior year
Two
bills.
Prior bills.
And I did, Mike just said it would be cleaner, easier if we could just, if we had to clean our budgets this year. If we could pay them out of FY 25 rather than going into FY 26. So this is one for the ambulance that, and this all has to do with
Even
the
has to go
mails.
to the town, we just can't just be a finance committee vote to recommend to the select board to
Yeah,
do a line item.
Just pay the bill?
No, a prior year bill has to
Oh,
go to
because it's a
town
prior,
meeting.
oh.
Yeah,
that's
it's a
right.
prior fiscal year bill.
Okay.
It was
All
from
right.
FY 24. That's what happens.
We'll spend more time explaining it.
Exactly.
Yes, we will, to write the check.
They wound up in someone's drawer, face down.
Honestly, to the ones that are under my budget, I never got, they were sent in the mail. They never showed up. I just found out about it 2 weeks ago. So,
No, this one. People have to give us too much break, too many breaks. and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Article 25, to see if the town will vote to allow payment from the ambulance department fiscal year 25 operating budget. Or otherwise provide the sum of $1,036.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And 37 cents. Higher fiscal year bill or taking action altered there too. Any further discussion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3
And I don't know if you noticed that, but I was also told that it's a 4/5 majority vote required for this. And if it's at a special town meeting, it's a 9/10.
Oh, my goodness.
Hope we'll have 10 people. to think.
No kidding. And twist the arms of 9 of them.
I mean, if anyone carries a dispute,
And sometimes people just like to be like that.
this is going to be a spoiler, right?
Sometimes they do at town meeting.
Article 26, oh, another one to explain. More items. Hope we won't affect our bond rate.
Oh, okay. 27 and 28 are not gonna be on the warrant.
Correct.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute, you didn't. vote on
26, they're doing
26 yet.
26.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is big bucks here. Article 26, to see if the town will vote to allow payment to the town administration fiscal year 25 operating budget, the sum of $678,080 to pay 3 prior fiscal year bills, or take any action relative thereto. Any further discussion? Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
When Kendra met was the moderators, if someone voted no, anyone who voted no, that is evil. Because we're paying some small businesses that, stiff.
Oh, and I think that might be the last of
Money.
the
Finance.
money articles.
Oh, my goodness.
And this one, I don't even know if that's gonna happen, so, unless you had to do. No, community preservation, no, that's it.
Look at us.
Well, you're gonna be here late, we'll be,
Oh.
we'll be partying
Yeah,
at the bar. We'll
Next,
save you a drink at the time.
there you go.
We'll be on our
Take you up
third-
on that.
we're on our
Take you up
third
on
round.
that.
We'll be on our third round, you gotta drive us home. And make a motion to adjourn the finance meeting. Second.
Thank you all for your work on this.
Yes. You guys adjourned?
They did.
Okay, all right, so, moving on, select board member comments, concerns,
I have no comments or concerns.
because a non-meeting next Monday. Mail, we got, a letter from Xfinity, they're moving their adult channels to a different, I don't know, range of numbers or something, so that's.
Good thing we know about that.
I didn't, yeah, that seemed really important, I didn't even know they had adult channels.
Yeah, that's what happened, I was like, Conway, yeah, right?
Announcements, none that I know
Thank you.
of. Our next meeting is here at 6 o'clock, Monday, April 28th. Yeah, 6 o'clock, Monday, April 28th. And with that, I make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.